Hello everyone, I am Tiff and welcome. If you're watching this video, then you are more than likely aware of the 8 Pins Questions event that was initiated last year by Simone and Leanne from Leanne Likes. I remember watching those videos and I thoroughly enjoyed myself listening to other YouTubers, other content creators explain their journey with fountain pens and inks. And I was just so excited when I saw that they were carrying it forward again. This is the first year, this is the first anniversary of that event. And just thank you, first of all, to Simone and Leanne for setting this up and opening it up to the public so that we can participate. I did not participate last year, hence why I really wanted to participate this year. So let's get it going and I hope you enjoy it. Now the first question, when and how did your fountain pen journey begin? I have always been into stationery and pens, but it wasn't until I would say COVID, I really got into journaling, and it was due to pure boredom, to be honest with you. I got on YouTube and just whatever came up, and I got into journaling, more into notebooks, bullet journaling. Interesting enough, because it's during COVID, everything shut down. There's nothing to do. But because I love stationery and always have, it drew me in and caught my attention. And of course, when you see videos on journaling, then you're going to see videos on the stationery that they use. Hence, I got into fountain pen videos. The very first fountain pens that I purchased were the Pilot Varsity. Those just didn't work for me. Maybe it's because they were too thick of a nib. That maybe it was the size. I'm not sure, but that didn't work. So I kind of gave up on it for a while. Then my next purchase was the Kaweco Sport in Macchiato. I have not gotten rid of this pen, even though I don't really use it very often anymore. I feel like it's a good pocket pen. And I don't know if I'm holding on to it for sentimental reasons. I just have yet to let go of it. But this was my next pen, and I'm like, I can change my inks. I can change the color. And then I saw all the other Kawecos, and I'm like, this is just so cool. So this was my true initiation, my true introduction, I should say, to fountain pens. They all started here. And my very next one was, of course, a TWSBI. It was just, to me, a very classy looking pen. It had a huge ink well, and of course I'm like, how can I use all of this ink? I literally didn't realize that I could change the inks out before it ran dry. That's how green I was to the community. But thankfully to YouTube and all these other content creators and sharers on YouTube, I'm like, oh, just like I drew it up, I can dump it out. And use more of that ink later. So these were my first fountain pens, and that's how my journey got started. Favorite inks in the beginning, and what are your go-to inks now? In the beginning, my very first ink, Diamine Jet Black. Again, I don't think I realized that there were so many options out there. This started, I want to say end of 2020. And yeah, I was just like, black, why do I need another ink? When it came to a regular, say, gel pen, I loved my brown inks. And then I realized I could just do so much with these inks. I had no idea that there were shimmers, inks with shimmer, and inks that could shade, or, that had sheen. I just didn't know. And so actually, Ferris Wheel Press was my next purchase, And that's when I was introduced to shimmer inks, and they do shimmer inks a lot. So these were my first two inks, but over time I realized that shimmer in my pens is not exactly what I wanted. So I literally stopped buying all shimmer inks because I just didn't like dealing with the whole clogging of the pen and having to clean it out. And I would clean out my pens, but yet at least I thought I did. And then I go to ink it up and there's shimmer in an ink that didn't have shimmer in it. I'm like, okay. So then I found out about Roshizuku inks. Oh my goodness. I am obsessed with certain Roshizuku inks. My only qualm is that there are not enough color options. I would buy stock if I could get them to come out with more colors. But now my go-tos are Diamine and my Roshizuku inks. That's not to say I don't use others. I use all brands. But if you were to ask me, what are my favorites? What are my go-tos? When I know I want good ink, good inks that flow well. For Diamine, they just have such an abundant selection of colors. And they have, you know, sheening inks and shading inks, standard inks, shimmer inks. I will say that if I'm going to use a shimmer ink, it's probably going to be Diamine. I will still get Ferris Wheel Press or other inks that have shimmer. But my preference for those inks are just to have a splash on the page for decorative purposes. I have realized over time that I like to just write with basically shading and sheening inks, preferably shading inks, not so much the shimmer. How have your ink and pen taste changed over time? Well, I kind of just talked about the ink and how my journey with inks. As for pens, initially, I really thought I would only want black pens. That was what I started off with, and I'm thinking, okay, this was not an early purchase, but in my mind, I just only wanted black, and I don't know why. Maybe I was just stuck in a pigeonhole. And I gradually opened up, and I don't solely purchase black pens now. For example, two pens that kind of just, they aren't really in the colorway that I normally would go to, but they were just stunning to me and I loved them. Here I have a hand-turned pen and then a Novelor. So my pen journey, my taste have changed over time because I know that I don't want to just be black all the time. I absolutely love a brown pen. Love, love, love a brown pen. To me, they are so classy, especially brown and gold. And I mean, how do you top a brown? If you like a brown pen, for example, this one, I mean, how do you not like this, right? And so all I was looking at for a while was brown and black. And, you know, I would have an offshoot every now and then. I'd have a one-off every now and then. But for the most part, it was still brown and black. As of late, I have definitely gotten into my greens. But yeah, I have definitely ventured away from just standard pens into hand-turned pens, pens with a little bit more character. I think I still kind of have an aesthetic, but for the most part, I at least can say that I'm not just pigeonholed into brown and black anymore. I definitely have, you know, lighter colors. I have white pens and green and black and brown. I know there's some people that like literally, if it's pretty, it doesn't matter what color it is. They don't have a specific colorway. They just say, hey, I like it no matter the color of it. And personally, this is just kind of what I veer to, and that's okay. So yeah, definitely have, I think my mind has broadened into what I like, but it still has not changed the fact that I love me some earth tones. If it's a neutral and an earth tone, you pretty much got me from the jump right there. So definitely love that. That has not changed, but I have again opened my mind to different pens with other colors and characteristics. Are there pens and inks that you have yet to try but would like to? Yes, there are so many. I mean, I can't even express how many I would like to try. But if I must say, for an example, I have not yet tried a Scribble. Definitely want to try a Scribble. I'm definitely getting into Italian pens now. I do not own a Leonardo. I want a Leonardo, but I want the right one. I don't want to just purchase one. That's one thing that I don't want to do, is just say, hey, I just want to try something and buy something just for the heck of it, just to be buying it. I want to get one that I see and I want to get that excitement, you know what I'm saying, before I purchase a pen. So yeah, there are plenty of pens that I would like to try that I have not, and in my opinion, the best way to do that is a pen show. So I have been to one pen show. I went to the Chicago Pen Show last year. I plan on going to at least one, possibly two this year. So yeah, to me, that is the best way to look at a pen, to hold it, to feel it, to test it out if possible, before spending the money on it, to see if it's worth the purchase. What is your holy grail pen? I kind of have two. First of all, what is a holy grail pen? I feel like people can have their own opinion, their own interpretation of what a grail pen is. My interpretation is a pen that is just not easily attainable. And my tastes have changed. So what was a grail pen for me in the past is not necessarily a grail now. I feel like my tastes have changed in such a way that now a grail pen may be hard to attain, but it's not impossible to attain. The first grail pen actually is a Scribble. It's the Spazio Rosa. I hope I am saying that correctly. That pen is just gorgeous. I cannot believe I missed the boat on that pen. If anybody knows of anyone that has one for sale, please let me know. And the strange thing is that if I see it, I will probably buy it, even though I've never even held a Scribble. I just feel like, if I get it and if it's not for me, it can always be rehomed. But just visually, that pen is just, it is just gorgeous. I mean, it is curvaceous and feminine. I just love it. My other grail, it's not this one, but when I saw this pen. This was Karina from Karina Loves the Plan, and this was her grail pen. And don't know what rock I was living under, but I saw it knowing how I love a brown pen, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my goodness, how have I not seen this pen? And literally that day, went online and found one at a phenomenal deal and went ahead and grabbed it. So while I was looking at this pen, I saw a few others, and now my grail pen is what I want to have next to this one. It's the Pelikan 815 with the metal strip. That I've seen it. It's attainable. The price point is just a little bit up there. And I don't know exactly how and when I will attain it at some point. Lord willing, I'm going to attain that pen at some point. But yeah, it's a pen that is hard to come by for me, simply because it's the ones I've seen that are out there. It's pricey. It's pricey, and that is definitely an investment. So I definitely want to get one. I'm not exactly sure when, not exactly sure how, but it will happen. How many pens do you currently own? I currently own 44 pens, with 2 on the way. One being purchased and one that's purchased is on pre-order, and the second is a hand-turned pen that is being made. I guess to some people 44 is a lot. To other people 44 is not that much. I personally do not utilize all of them. There are, I'd say, maybe 10 pens that I just don't go back to, that in my mind I really need to rehome, and that could definitely make way for newer pens. Another thing that I really would like to do is to make sure that I rotate my pens better. I do have a really bad habit of finding pens that I just love to look at, love to hold, love to write with, and I keep going back to them. I'm like, oh, let me just try a different ink in this again. When I have other pens that there's absolutely nothing wrong with them, I don't want to get rid of them, but they kind of just sit there. So I need to be intentional on rotating what I'm writing with, and I try to do it monthly, maybe with a currently inked, to make sure that my pens are in use, because I mean, it's my hobby and I enjoy them. Do you have a limit on pens in your collection? Is it a number? Is it a feeling? And when do you know that you've reached your maximum? For inks, I would say, for pens and inks, honestly, I do not have a limit. This is my hobby, and I thoroughly enjoy my hobby. If I played golf and I enjoyed golf, I would not put a limit on how many golf courses I attend or how many rounds of golf I can play, say, in a year. I don't play golf. I don't even know if that's the correct verbiage for it. But if that's your hobby, you're going to continue with it. That's how I feel about my pens and inks. If I like it, I'm going to use it. If I see a new one, I'm going to buy it. The only thing I feel like that would stop me or say that I'm at my limit for that moment is if I no longer have room, physical room, for my pens and inks, or if I no longer can financially afford to make the investment in pens. Currently, what would you do if another pen/ink came along? I'd buy it. If I can afford it, I'm gonna buy it. So, I hope you all have thoroughly enjoyed this. I cannot wait to finish looking at other videos that are posted. I am going to post the link to the video that came out before me, which is Terry from Drawinsnscribblins, and the video that will come out after mine, which is from Galen with Fountain Pendulum. And I will also include the link to the playlist for everyone that is associated with this event. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, Leanne and Simone, thank you so much for opening this up again this year, and hopefully we'll see you guys next year and see you guys later. Bye.